This week, Samsung unpacks again with products. Apple breaks records again in its earnings. And yes, CES returns in Las Vegas. Woohoo! Those are some of the tech news stories from this week. And it's Friday, April 30th. Wow, April went by quick. 2021. My name is Kirk Corliss.
And I'm Scott Ertz.
And this is episode 88 of the GNC Week in Review podcast, proud partner of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. We are streaming live on gncweekly.com/live, so please be sure to say hello and chat or comment. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. If you missed the live video, that's okay. You can always catch the replay later. If you are a new listener, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast where you can find on the right-hand side column at gncweekly.com, be it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. If you have a comment, be it on social media or email, and those links can be found at gncweekly.com/connect. So, a lot of news this week, and we're going to discuss, dissecting a lot of it. And we're going to jump right in with the top story this week. Andrew Palmer, who is a staff writer for geeknewshunt.com, reported on Wednesday Samsung had its Samsung Unpacked event where they unveiled its vision for its future of PCs, a range of high-spec ultrabooks with the characteristics of smartphones, mobility, connectivity, and continuity.
I think continuity is the word you were looking for there,
continuity. Buddy. Thank you. Tongue twister. All right, so Samsung announced two high-end Galaxy books with a thickness of a smartphone and the power of a PC. The Samsung Galaxy Book Pro and the Samsung Galaxy Book Pro 360. He's saying that the laptops are amazingly thin. The Book Pro is 11.2 millimeters and the Pro 360 is 11.5 millimeters. It's available in two screen sizes, 13 inches by 13.3 inches and 15.6 inches, and three colors. He's saying the Book Pro is a standard clamshell laptop. The Book Pro 360 is a convertible with the screen folding all the way back into a tablet. He mentioned about the display. It's a touchscreen AMOLED display with S Pen support. The Galaxy books come with dual array mics and intelligent noise canceling. He's saying, disappointingly, the camera is only 720p. 5G is built in, and though it seems to only be available on the smaller 13-inch models. Inside the Galaxy Book is a 11th gen Intel Core processor, i3, i5, or i7, with an Iris X GPU on the higher-end CPUs. It's powered by a slim custom battery, giving 20 hours of video playback or around 16 hours of standard use. The 65-watt charger is made from recycled materials, will give 8 hours of power in 30 minutes. Port-wise, he says the book is up to date with USB-C and Thunderbolt 4.
So there's a couple of interesting things here, right? So the first one is that this is a big introduction for the new GPUs. There have been other products with them, but not really. The Iris X GPU is Intel's attempt to make their integrated graphics not be the laughing stock of the industry, right? Because for so long you see, Intel integrated graphics, like, right, so this is going to be a garbage computer. Got it. But that's not the case anymore. These Iris X GPUs are actually pretty impressive. Avram talked about it, a couple of months ago now when they started talking about getting back into the space. So that's really exciting to see. However, it is disappointing that the camera is so poor, especially right now, considering how many people are using, especially with the Galaxy Book Pros, because I do want to correct the beginning of this a little bit. They announced 2 Galaxy Book Pros and 2 more non-pros. Right. The pros are targeted at business people, and a webcam on a laptop is more important today than ever. So for them to have screwed that up so badly is a huge disappointment.
Yeah, well, I have a Dell Xps 13 that we're recording on now with live right now. If you guys are watching live and if you're listening on audio, you can catch the replay. The camera's not too bad. It's a little grainy.
It's impressive low light though. I'm not going to lie about that because obviously you don't have studio lights on you, and although there is a sepia tone to what's going on, it's not everything's clear, which is impressive. But yeah, no, the camera on that's not bad, but it's also not a brand new coming out soon laptop. Right.
And the XPS 13 and the XPS products, their laptops have been, as far as the webcams, over the year, from what I understood and read and done research, and also plugged to Tom's guide as well. They've been saying that the webcam has been really bad. It's been like what they call one of the laptops or XPSs from a couple of years ago. Like it's a nose cam where
the nostril cam,
right? But for the most part, it's been fine. So, and I have no problems with it. But also,
luckily, when my company issued me a laptop, I have an XPS 13, and mine has a proper webcam, though. My former business partner, Mark, was issued a nostril cam, and I make fun of him for it all the time. First thing he did was he got a 920 to put on top. He's like, I'm not playing this game. I'll go spend the $50 of my own money and get a Logitech C920. I'm not dealing with his nostril cam.
Well, I will hopefully ordered a webcam, or not a camera from Kickstarter, so hopefully we get it coming. That'll be coming soon. Also, he's reporting that these Galaxy Book Pros are not going to be cheap. They're starting at $999 for the Pro and $1,199 for the Pro 360. They're open. Their pre-orders open now with delivery this month or this coming month in mid-May.
And in reality, for a laptop with an 11th gen core processor and the higher end Iris GPU, $999 is not bad. For a business laptop, $1,000 is not a bad price. I mean, it's far less than the one that I use. But it's also not the third computer, and the one that I'm so glad that GNC talked about this, because nobody talked about the Galaxy Book. Everybody talked about the two Pros. About half of the outlets talked about the Odyssey. Nobody talked about the Galaxy Book, which is impressive because it's $549.
Yeah, and he got the scoop, and good. He resides in London, and he goes to a lot of the press, the press announcements. He goes to, I don't know if he went to, I think he reported it. I don't know if he went to the actual event. They may have had it online, but he was the first one to report it. And he goes to different other, what's the other conference that overseas in
Mobile World
Congress. He goes to that. I know he goes to other events, and I think he's was stopped because with the pandemic. I think a lot of the events closed down, but for the most part, he's been reporting a lot of stuff that's been going on, but from Samsung and various other companies. So I mean, Andrew, you're good on you.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. Because seriously, even a lot of the big publications, because I watched the presser, and my takeaway was the Galaxy Book. The fact that there was going to be a $549 Samsung laptop available targeted at consumers. That was my big takeaway, and nobody talked about it, which I was shocked by.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, it's got a stepped down processor. It doesn't have the Iris X GPU, but it's $549. And anybody who's ever owned a Samsung product, save for Avram and his washing machine that exploded, can attest, but particularly this division of Samsung, right? With phones and computers and technology, the products are nearly indestructible. They're really high quality, well made products. So a $549 laptop from Samsung,
yep,
I think is going to be super attractive. And then they've also got the Odyssey, which super niche, which is okay, but it's a mid-range gaming laptop. It's RTX 3050 Ti, which isn't it's not world shattering, but it's way better than something in the 2000s. Because this generation upped the power in a way that I don't think we've ever seen before in GPUs. But I mean, for $1399, again, you've got a mid-range gaming laptop from Samsung. It's going to be hard to compete with that. I mean, yes, it's the 3050 Ti. It's not going to be
it's not a game changer.
Yeah, it's not the Alienware that Avram showed off on our show a couple of weeks ago, right? But which is currently the fastest test gaming laptop on the market. But not everybody needs the top of the top. This would be a great editing machine for mobile content creators. And at $1399, again, for a Samsung quality laptop, this is attractive.
Yeah, so we'll definitely see what happens. And again, if there's we'll have the link up in the show notes on the full information on Andrew's takeaways, and we'll have a link up in the show notes so you can check out. Again, kudos on Andrew on that reporting that. All right, other news this week. This week is earnings week from Google, which we'll dive in a little bit later.
From everybody.
Oh
my goodness! Seems like my phone has been going off with push notifications all week. Intel's about to do their earnings call. Amazon's doing their earnings call. Google's doing their earnings call. It's like, shh. I got it. I understand. These are all companies that I follow their stock price, but shh.
Yep. I got them too, so it was a pain in the butt. But one of them we're gonna highlight was Apple. Apple reported $89.6 billion. That's what it be in revenue for the second fiscal quarter of 2021. This was a huge Wall Street bet, attributed in large part to strong growth in iPhone wearables and services. This represents a year-on-year growth of 54% from Q2 2020, when Apple reported $58.3 billion at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Net profit rose a gargantuan 110% to hit $23.6 billion. So they're not hurting. Apple CEO Tim Cook says,
they will be when the chip shortage starts to kick them.
Right. Apple CEO's Tim Cook says, quote, "This quarter for Apple wouldn't have been possible without the tireless and innovative work of every Apple team member worldwide. We are gratified by the enthusiastic customer response to the unmatched line of cutting-edge products that we delivered across a historic holiday season. We're also focused on how we can help the communities where we're part of build back strongly." Did he steal that from Joe Biden? Strongly and equitably through efforts like our racial equity and justice initiative, as well as our multi-year commitment to invest $350 billion throughout the United States. The gross margin for the quarter reached 42.5% and is up from the year ago quarter, which was 38.4%. Operating expenses for the period were $10.6 billion above Q2 2020's $9.5 billion. Diluted earnings per share reported at $1.40. Revenue from iPad is 7.8, up from $4.4 billion over a year, 1 year ago.
7.8 billion, not $1.80. They're not $7.80. An important distinction.
Right. That was when I was typing this up. When I was typing it up, that's a typo on my fault. My bad. $7.8 billion, up from $4.4 billion over a year ago. Mac revenue of $9.1 billion is up from Q2 2020's $5.4 billion, and wearables, home, and accessories up 7.8 from $6.3 billion this time last year. So impressive numbers, and something tells me, and we'll dive into and dissect a little bit later on about other product with the AirTags. Thank you. why my brain is so fried today.
I'm fascinated, but not entirely surprised that wearables, home, and accessories is, I mean, comparably, obviously it's not flat, but comparably, it's, if you look at the overall up, that division is theoretically down compared to the rest of the company, which is fascinating because they only went up, what's that? Less than a sixth, whereas everybody else is up 5.4 to 9.1, almost, you know, what's that, 43% or something like that, 4.4 to 7.8. I mean, almost double, and they're up 6.3 to 7.8. That's you know, comparatively down. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive that people are.
They had to do a huge write-off on the big Siri speaker though, so that might be where some of that profit went.
And that would fall under that'll be the HomePod, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they had to do a big write-off on those because turned out they couldn't give those stupid things away.
And that's, I'm kind of curious too. Like I can see Mac people buying a lot of Macs and
with the new
iPhones.
chips.
Exactly, with right, with M1.
This is the first time in a long time that Apple computer users have had a reason to upgrade. Because there's been nothing special in the Mac ecosystem in a decade or more. This is the first real like change and the first real reason for people to go out and buy. So it makes sense. iPad, they made the iPad Pro a serious product instead of a toy product. They, you know, the older version was interesting, but it wasn't a game changer. They really leaned into it this time. So that one makes sense.
Well, and also excuse the the clip on Tim Cook deciding to play Mission Impossible, but
that'll affect next quarter though, not this quarter.
Right.
Those aren't out yet.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised that people were really buying wearables when a lot of people aren't real. I guess things with a lot of the restrictions have been lifted a little more and more.
Accessories is where that came in.
That's what
if they were going to break that division up, the numbers up, accessories is where all the sales were this time.
Yeah.
I bet laptop cases, headphones, things like that. That's where all the business was. Well, it wasn't in Apple Watches. And it sure as hell wasn't in Siri speakers.
Right. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Because I don't think those headphones, there is no way on this godforsaken earth. And we know we talked about that and goofed on how it looks.
Oh, the $8,000 headphones?
Right. Yeah, I'm just like, but even still, impressive numbers. All right. Jen Thorpe, who is also a staff writer for geeknewscentral.com, pretty much every tech news outlet reported this. And when I got this news, I mean, it's already been posted and it's been posted on every website. Todd got the email. You got the email. Everybody in their mother got this email, but it was reported that the Consumer Technology Association, or CTA, announced CES 2022 will return to Las Vegas next year, and I'm a happy puppy.
So kind of, right? It's going to be a hybrid,
right?
But at least 1,000 companies have already committed to in-person exhibiting. Now, that's not impressive.
No.
Considering we're used to 4,800.
Right.
And we have built a whole new building because the number keeps going up. So it's not great, but 1,000 companies committing to exhibit in person is a good start. We're definitely on our way, and we're 8 months out from it still, and we've already got 1,000 committed companies. However, we still will be doing a hybrid show. There's still going to be some companies that will exhibit entirely virtually. There will still be some attendees that will be entirely virtual. So I've already been working through in my head what a show looks like to deal with both in-person and virtual interviews. It's not great, but
right.
I've started dealing with it.
It's gonna be weird, but also in the same token, when they were showing I'm pimping ourselves for TPM because we did a kick-ass show. We did a kick-ass show.
We knew how to do it better than anybody. Nobody else figured out how to cover CES this past year. None of the news outlets knew how to cover it.
Nope.
But our format literally didn't change. No. We were just sitting in our own studios instead of on the tower.
Right.
We've been doing the right thing for more than a decade.
Yep.
What was this? Year 13, I think. We haven't changed what we do. It works, and we were the only ones who figured it out.
Yeah.
I will say that I knew about this before the announcement.
Okay. You should have told me.
Because I was one of the people who was contacted about if we were to do in person, what would be required for you. And so I talked to Bobby, who's one of our reps at the CTA. I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks ago. And we were talking about, I even got confirmation back then that we're going to be on the correct tower. Like, so I knew about this, but I wasn't allowed to really say anything until the announcement came out. But I've been working through what this could possibly look like for our coverage this year. And I think I've got it figured out, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Good. I am too. I'm looking forward to it. Especially I'll definitely be in.
It will almost certainly mean that I'm driving, but that's okay.
Right. So definitely, it was definitely a good news. And like you also mentioned about the companies that over 1,000 companies committed. Also, Eureka Park. And for those who don't know about Eureka Park, who are new to this podcast, new to TP Tech Podcast Network,
that is where we live.
Right. And
that is our home.
Right. And I hope to hopefully, and I was going to say this now, I'm taking every precautions, including I'm making sure I don't fall.
Yes, please.
From 2018 to my house where I broke a toe. So I'm taking every precaution to not fall. I'm watching every.
Gonna have to get you Iron Man legs.
Right. Exactly. So, but with Eureka Park, basically, it's like, and I always tell people that I know, and if you ever watch Shark Tank, and they're coming out with a product, it could be any product for the home or the car or whatever, and they're starting out with this product, and they want to get investor or a shark to invest in their company, in their business.
Yeah.
And example, we talked about this for many years, and I think we're going to be talking about this even still now than ever, is a guy named Roddy Cabral, and he invented the device called Benji Lock, and basically it's a capacitive not the right word.
No, it's biometric.
Biometric. Thank you. Okay, why am I saying again?
Well, because the screen is capacitive for the deadbolt and stuff. The screen is capacitive, but he started with a biometric padlock, which I know today everybody has tried to copy, and I have reviewed a number of them, and none of them come close to what the Benji Lock product is, because after we met him at Eureka Park, he went on Shark Tank. Mr. Wonderful invested, brought it to Hampton Products, which our audience will recognize under the name of Brinks.
Right.
And so a lock company said, yes, we can bring technology in. Let's bring technology in. And Benji Lock now is in deadbolts and a bike lock. I was talking to a support person from Hampton today, and she said she just got one of the bike locks and she absolutely loves it. So, I mean, it has expanded. And when I met him, he had a non-working prototype, and that's Eureka Park.
Right. Exactly. And that's where a lot, and also I said too, that, a lot of the press don't go down YouTube. I mean, there is press that goes down there, but not many. But what we do as far as Tech Podcast Network with us, Plug Us Live, Geek News Central, The Gadget Professor, The Tech Ranch, Talking Sounds is also on Tech Podcast Network as well.
Currently a friend of Tech Podcast Network, technically, because he's not officially listed.
That's true. That's right.
I've been working on that, but he is not officially listed. I apologize, Chris. We'll work on that harder.
Definitely. So he's a friend of the show. So basically, we go down and visit these companies, and they will show off, what they have, and it's things I've seen, like from I always say, from one end of the spectrum to the other. There's various countries that are down there that show off their products, and they're amazing, and it's
universities,
right? Universities, and
because Case Western Reserve University is one of my favorites, because they've always got a contingency of interesting and strange products and services. The fishing bobber that we had on the show a couple of years ago, that was weird and wonderful. A license plate holder that had a backup camera built into it, and this was like 7 years ago. I mean, that for that long ago, that was impressive, and that all came from Case Western, I think. So,
I saw another college. I think it was a college, I believe. I can't remember what state it was that made whiskey, and I'm like, and Todd got a bottle from them.
Now this isn't Pico Brew, right?
No, it's not Pico Brew. It's
okay.
No, different. It was down in Eureka Park. It was a college. I think it was a college or something. I can't remember the exact name of it. I'll have to look and see. I have to go back and check because I had to.
I love it.
I think it was a college. I can't remember what state it was. It'll probably come to me later.
That makes it so much funnier.
But they made their own whiskey, and they gave him a bottle of it. I was like, I was going to ask for some, but I didn't. I digress. But anyway, yes. So basically, Eureka Park is like the best time to go down to see these products, meet with them, and we
get in early.
If you're definitely, I see, Scott. I made sure I went on my Google Calendar. I had that week blocked off, the entire week. I went on Hopper. It's an app where you can check the prices for flights.
And your note on your event in your calendar says CES, please don't fall.
I'll add that too. Add that too. Make sure that they add that too. So yes, definitely. There's a lot that's going to come up. I mean, obviously it's way early right now, but little by little over the next few months.
It's way early as far as our audience is concerned.
Right.
It is only about 2 months away from when I start to panic. So
right. Yeah. And also all the emails that comes in, but we'll definitely, when between right around the fall-ish, fall months, we'll keep you guys apprised on what we're doing, be live coverage. Definitely we're going to have behind the scenes stuff. We'll have our live blog. I'm definitely going to make sure that, post some videos for GNC Week in Review. Also, we'll coordinate. We'll Plug Us Live and Geek News Central. So between all of us, we'll definitely have a lot of great stuff coming out. And a lot of awesome content. So make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to on YouTube, GNC Week in Review. So definitely keep an eye on that in the next few months. All right. Other news this week, and now mention about Google, about their earnings. Google parent Alphabet reported on Tuesday that it raked in a total of $55.3 billion in revenue over the past 3 months. That's up 34% compared to this time last year. Wall Street was expecting revenue growth of just around 25%. The company's net income jumped dramatically as well, from $6.8 billion in Q1 2020 to $17.9 billion in this year's quarter.
That's almost triple.
Mm-hmm.
Stand back, Apple.
Right. Google's coming knocking on your door.
Wow.
Google CEO Sundar Pichai said in a statement, quote, "Over last year, people have turned to Google Search and many online services to stay informed, connected, and entertained. We've continued our focus on delivering trusted services to help people around the world. Ads run on YouTube accounted for $6 billion of Alphabet's total revenue pie. That's up about from about $4 billion, just as people were saying that to hunker down at home in earnest. Alphabet also reported a new high for Google's cloud business, which generated revenues of just over $4 billion. Meanwhile, Alphabet's, quote, other bets category, which include businesses like autonomous driving company, Waymo, and Verily, held gain very slightly year over year. Those subsidiaries collectively pulled in about $60 million more than last year, but accompanying losses held more or less steady at $1.1 billion. Steady gains in Google services revenue, which come from the Play Store, Google One and more, along with heightened success in its broader ad business. So Google is really doing really well.
So it looks like revenue from YouTube ads was their biggest growth area, because that had almost a 50% revenue increase, which definitely beats the 34% for the overall company, and for sure attributed to that nearly tripling in profit. No, that's net income. Sorry.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. That's still net income. Yeah. That's still that. I would say a lot of that came from YouTube. A lot of that jump came from YouTube, because in the grand scheme of things, the cost of YouTube is almost free comparatively. It's not like Google Cloud Services, where they're having to constantly develop new things and put a lot of money into R&D and things like that. YouTube kind of just runs at this point. It is as close to a turnkey business as you can actually get online today.
Right.
So it's interesting, especially when you see how many channels have been demonetized. Makes you wonder if they're still playing ads on those channels and keeping 100% of the revenue on it. Which wouldn't be great, but
speaking of subscribers, I don't know if you noticed the past couple of days, but we're doing pretty well. And thank you for those who are subscribing to the channel. So we really appreciate it. It's definitely reach out to share the video, share our videos of our podcast. They help us grow, and we got so far we're up to almost 100 subscribers. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm really happy that people are tuning in, because there's other tech news videos out there, weekly news. I know that there's a few, not all. I know there's several of them, but I think that, again, I'm pimping ourselves, and I think we're dissecting what's going on, but also getting a lot of fun out of it as well. And that's so I still. So I don't know. We're not monetized, so we're not close to that yet. We're not at 1,000 subscribers yet. We're at
10%.
Yeah,
10%. But considering thanks to our audience, we've done that in like 7 weeks.
Right.
That's pretty impressive, and we definitely appreciate that, and hopefully we'll continue down that path, because at some point, it might help us out even more. So, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Definitely do appreciate it. All right. Next up, this was really, it's going to give a little chuckle. Verizon is reportedly ready to give up on Yahoo and AOL after spending a combined $9 billion on the once dominant internet brands that fell from prominence years before Verizon bought them. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday, excuse me, quote, Verizon is exploring a sale of assets, including Yahoo and AOL, as the telecommunication giant looks to exit in an expensive and unsuccessful bet on digital media. Can you say, duh? The sale process involves private equity firm Apollo Global Management and, quote, could lead to a deal worth $4 billion to $5 billion. This is also from the Journal reporting this, citing, quote, people familiar with the matter. Now, Ars Technica asked Verizon if it has a response to the Wall Street Journal report, and the spokesperson said told Ars Technica, quote, has nothing to add. Now, the Wall Street Journal report is a little bit vague as from Ars Technica is reporting this. The headline says that Verizon exploring the sale of, quote, parts of Yahoo and AOL, but the story itself does not contain the, quote, parts of qualification. The article also said that other details couldn't be learned. Bloomberg had an article about it on the potential sale, so that Verizon is considering selling its entire media division, including Yahoo and AOL, and did not contain any qualifications suggesting that only, quote, parts of the units will be sold. Verizon is, quote, talking to Apollo Global Management about a deal. This is from people familiar with the matter. It could not be immediately be learned on how a deal will be structured or if other suitors may emerge. Bloomberg is also saying no final decision made, and Verizon could opt to keep the union. And
So I have some people on LinkedIn that are members of this division, and they were pretty sure that this was going to happen, not because they have any internal knowledge, but because of the fact that Verizon seems to be less interested in the I apologize.
Okay.
Seems to be less interested in the day-to-day operations today than they were 6 months ago. So, and that makes sense. While we're seeing growth in our audience, and Plug Hits has seen huge growth in the last year on our audience, and I know Todd has said that he's seen growth in the last year. TechCrunch, Engadget, HuffPo have all seen decreases in their audience.
Right.
So I think the fact that those publications in particular have kind of lost the plot on who they are and gone off the rails. Why is TechCrunch writing articles about the vaccine? Right? It doesn't make sense. I think people have started to abandon them. And as an online media brand, once your audience leaves, they do not come back. Once you've done something to drive them away, there's no getting them to come back. I don't know.
Well, not to mention that when they were putting their all in with Go90, and look how that happened. And they had put investments in the millions, not billions, mind you, but millions. Like for one example, they had a show, I think I mentioned this before, called The Runner. It was a good show, but that lasted not even. They were supposed to have a good, I think, supposedly 2 seasons. I think it was. It only lasted for 1, and they're supposed to get all this great content pulled in from different types of content providers, and
maybe Roku will buy that part of the company too, like they did with Quibi.
Yeah, right. I mean, but they're going to probably sell for cheap. I don't think they spent an obscene amount of money, billions of dollars for AOL.
Just for those two companies, they spent over $9 billion, and they're looking to offload for $5 billion. Can anybody say MySpace?
Right. Right.
Both parents were already dead, and it's the reason why I keep calling it the Verizon nostalgia unit. I refuse to call it Oath because that was a stupid name. And I don't want to call it the Verizon Media or whatever, VZM. Because it's the nostalgia unit.
Right.
Honest to God, Batman should be in there because the parents were dead when they took over.
That's a good analogy.
And I think they were hoping for a Batman moment, right?
Right.
Where where they could revitalize this thing out of the ashes, and it would be a phoenix coming up. I know I just went from DC to Marvel, but
go with it.
That they could have this phoenix moment, because Yahoo was kind of doing it under Marissa. Anywhere that she could touch, that the board wouldn't step on her hands. Yahoo was seeing that kind of phoenix moment, and then there was the hacking stuff, and that kind of hurt Yahoo's image. And then they did the Yahoo mobile thing, and we said it when they announced the Yahoo mobile thing. That was a guarantee that they had lost faith in the brand, and they were doing anything to try and make $1 off of it. But also, I don't know. It was a dumb idea. Avram said at the time that all of the line providers were going to try and get into content, and they did.
Yep.
And what has happened? Oh, AT&T spun DirecTV back off. Verizon's looking to sell off the nostalgia unit. It didn't work for anybody because it was a dumb idea. Just because you can lay copper and fiber to bring a show into somebody's house doesn't mean you can make the show that runs on that copper or fiber. They're very different things.
But also too, but at one time, Yahoo and AOL were like the dominant space. They were dominant in the space.
Yeah, and that was 2 decades ago.
Exactly. So they're trying to, like I said, they're trying to recreate something. And I remember seeing that. I remember seeing the press releases, and they were all in on content. That was like their big play. They wanted to be the. They were saying the entertainment provider, bring content to the living room, and little by little, again, I had with Go90, that didn't last long. They were getting all these partners. I think they got Disney Plus, I think, for a year, I believe.
And Hulu.
Right. And that only lasts, I'm pretty sure it lasted a year. They only got that for a year, I believe. Yeah, they did. And now...
that's mostly because those kind of contracts run for a year at a time. It could be renewed at the end of it. Like the Spotify Hulu thing, I think ran out, but the Sprint Hulu deal is still in action. So,
little by little, I think what's going to happen is that they're going to start losing these big providers like Hulu. They're going to lose. I think they're going to probably what they're going to do. What they're probably going to do is they're going to shift to alternate. They're going to shift to what's going to come down. They're seeing the writing on the wall, I think, and I don't think they're going to get this. If they're going to buy AOL and Yahoo, something tells me they're not going to get it for $5 billion. It's going to probably get for a whole hell of a lot less, because when they bought AOL.
So if anybody has $5 billion that you would like to invest in making this purchase, because I can guarantee that that we've got more media experience than Verizon, which is not saying a whole lot.
Right. Right. And we're independent, so
yeah. Honestly, the biggest mistake they made, and Avram and I talked about this off air, not on air, but I said that the thing they needed to do was they needed to come up with a new name, and Oath wasn't it. But even if it was Oath, let's say that Oath was a great idea. It wasn't, but let's say it was. They needed to eliminate the AOL and Yahoo names. They needed to embrace Huffington Post and Gadget and TechCrunch, and they were directly under Oath, not under AOL that was under Oath. They needed to eliminate these dead names, and Avram's company has had a couple of names as it has gotten bigger over the year. Today, it's called Future Publishing or something like that. That's a great name.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the previous companies, all of the previous divisions that were purchased in are gone. None of those names exist anymore. Everybody's part of Future. Hooray. And that's what Verizon needed to do and didn't. They maintained the stupid AOL name, which hurt everybody who was underneath it. They maintained the stupid Yahoo name, which hurt everybody underneath it. And it's the reason why the only divisions that meant anything to Yahoo, Tumblr, and no, is Tumblr still theirs? No, I think they spun that off. Flickr for sure.
Yeah.
Are gone. And they were the only parts of Yahoo that had value.
Right. Until I believe Tumblr went to a porn site.
Well,
or porn content or
Tumblr had always had a high quantity of adult content. But Apple finally felt that they could do something about it under Verizon, and they stepped on their neck and made them change their policies.
Yep. Yeah, and I think I also got to think of when you're thinking of branding, keeping the same thing and just it's not going to fly unless you redo their logo. I mean, Yahoo, they shrunken down their font. They
updated Yahoo font is horrible,
isn't it? Though I mean,
not that the previous one was good, but if you're going to do a rebrand. Get rid of the thing that sucks the most. Get rid of the exclamation point. I'm sorry.
Agreed. We
got rid of the exclamation point out of the Plug Hits Live brand a decade ago.
Yeah,
and we were late to the party. Yeah. That should have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah. So something tells me again, I think that if they're going to sell this or sell I guarantee because when they bought AOL, I don't understand they bought AOL for dirt cheap. From what I understand, dirt cheap. So if they're going to get
that was like Justin Timberlake buying MySpace with the cash he found in his couch cushions.
Right. Yeah. So something tells me, again, whomever buys this, it's going to be a whole.
If it's Apollo, which is the current belief, if it's Apollo, this is going to get parted for scraps.
Yep.
So that will be the end of Yahoo and AOL. They'll sell the brands off individually or servers. There's on the Newsroom, which was an HBO show. There was a great comment.
Oh, I love that show.
One of the characters that came in the last season, they were trying to sell off the company, and the girl says, "From what I understand, you can make more money selling the cameras than producing television with them. So we'll probably do that." So that's the case with AOL and Yahoo. Yep. There's more money to be made selling the cameras than making TV shows.
And they tried to, and I remember there was like when they were trying to change their branding, and they're trying to go into, and it was a fascinating show. I love that. I love that show. They're trying to change their branding, that didn't work. They changed their branding again, that didn't work, and yeah. So if they're trying to change things up, it's a little too late, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, AOL changed their logo and they got rid of the triangle and replaced it with a period.
Right.
It's the opposite. You should have gotten rid of the punctuation on Yahoo instead of adding it to AOL.
Right. And just they gotta do something really quick before all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, it's gonna be gone.
Yep, you got it. All right, on the news this week, Americans that have been affected by the coronavirus pandemic who need assistance paying their broadband bills will soon get some help. The $50 a month broadband subsidy promised as part of the COVID-19 relief package Congress passed in December will be made available to low-income individuals starting in 2 weeks. The Federal Communication Commission, or FCC, said on Thursday that households will be able to begin applying for an emergency broadband benefit on May 12th. The $3.2 billion emergency relief program offers a subsidy of up to $50 a month to low-income households and up to $75 a month to households of Native American land to pay for broadband service. The FCC will also provide a one-time discount to poor households of up to $100 to purchase a computer or tablet. Congress stipulated that money will be available to households that are at the poverty line or 135% above it, those who qualify for free and reduced school lunches, or people who experience substantial loss of income since February 9th, 2020. Acting FCC Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel said in a statement, excuse me, quote, families in every corner of the country have been struggling to get online throughout the pandemic. For those families, we now say help is around the corner. In less than 2 weeks, we will have a new way for disconnected Americans to access the internet to carry out their day-to-day life so they can reach the virtual classroom, take advantage of telehealth, and seek new employment opportunities. So
congratulations, FCC, for getting this through just before it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, not literally, but this would have been super important a year ago, when learning was truly virtual. I mean, you've got New York saying that by July they're going to be fully open. Mm-hmm. The whole state's going to be open. So, I mean, we're literally at the end of this thing, and now it's hitting. It's such terrible timing, and exactly what I would expect from the federal government, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, now that everybody's going back to work and offices are opening and the country's back to normal, here's $50 a month.
Yay.
No longer do you have to sit in a Taco Bell parking lot to do your classwork because, you're going to be back in the classroom.
Right.
So close, and yet so far.
Well, I know a lot of companies have offered programs, and in New Jersey, where I live, the governor had different programs set up for different companies to offer customers help with assistance on their bills, and which is good on them. I applaud.
Spectrum created a special plan. It was similar to our old retiree plan, which was like $10 or $15 a month for a basic connection, which I thought was a great thing to do.
Yeah, but I always believe,
and it didn't take 56 weeks to get there.
Right. Yeah, I always believe, government does good things, but this is, it's good. They try to, but the way, we're not going to get into politics. That'll be wrong podcast. So if you want to know about politics, listen, go to the politics podcast. Next up, T-Mobile is, speaking of the AirTags. Damn, sorry, I'm getting this.
Hey, Apple. Apple. Here's what just happened. Right. You're using the word air too frequently, and it's confusing the market. And this is an entirely serious comment. You're using the word air too frequently in your products. We understand it's a wireless product. Got it.
Right.
You don't have to put an E in front of mail. We got it. We get that it's a wireless product. You don't have to use the word air. Please choose something else.
Thank you. And I second that emotion. Well, T-Mobile's getting on it. On Wednesday, they introduced the Sync Up Tracker. That's a word. That's a name for them. It's a new addition to T-Mobile's line of Sync Up products. The tag uses T-Mobile's nationwide LTE network and pairs with a Sync Up Tracker app for iOS and Android. In addition, the Sync Up Tracker gives near real-time tracking and virtual boundary alerts. The tag doesn't necessarily be in a specific range or in your smartphone to work, according to the press release that came out. The Sync Up Tracker also sports a light sensor and rings to help you find it more easily. The tag is water and dust resistant with a rechargeable 900 milliamp battery that lasts about a week, depending on your use. Matt Staneff, Chief Marketing Officer of T-Mobile, said in a release, quote, Sync Up Tracker brings peace of mind to a customer's most prized possessions and valuables, which is why we're putting the power of our network behind it. Sync Up Trackers go on sale in T-Mobile stores on May 7th for $60 or $2.50 for 24 months. You can sync up tracker service for $5 a month. So let's see everybody get on the on the tile tracker bandwagon.
So the thing that I like about this that separates it from the passive trackers, because this is an active tracker, and I spent several years in this market directly. So
Mhm.
the active trackers have obvious benefits, right? The fact that you don't have to hope that somebody with the app walks by one to ping that it's there, right? It's got cellular built in, it's got GPS built in. So no matter where it is, you can ping it live and get it to report. That is fantastic. But of course, what that's going to mean is that there's data attached. So you're going to be paying per month for it. So, you know, with every benefit comes a downfall. So the downfall is that you're going to be paying for a data plan for this tracker. But the benefit is if it's something you actually care about, it's live, it's active tracking. You can go onto your app and say, where is it? And it will ping its exact location right that moment. So that's huge. So, you know, you use your tile tracker for something inexpensive, right? But you use something like this for your laptop bag or your camera case or something like that. That's really what it comes down to. You put the other thing on your keys because, you know, you're not going to get too far from your keys. But you put this in your laptop bag, your camera case, something that's got real value. That's the thing here. They're very different use cases.
Okay.
But it's a great idea. It's nice to see because there were a lot of these. We sold something like this at Radio Shack 15, 18 years ago. Oh my God.
Sure.
It was before 2004 because I know what store I was at. So, I mean, these things have been around for a very long time, but this is small. This is way smaller than the guys that we used to sell. It looks just barely bigger than a tile. So that's awesome. It's good to see that there's investment going into this technology again. And to get a week out of an active tracker on a battery, whoa, the client I worked with couldn't get a day, couldn't get 24 full hours out of it. So good on them.
Cool. All right. Well, this is better than this is better than than the AirTags, I guess, from Apple.
Yeah, and they're different. They're different use cases. They're for different people, or at least for different purposes. I wouldn't put one of these on my keys. That would be crazy. Right. But I also wouldn't put a tile. I've been a big supporter of tile. I've got them. I wouldn't put a tile on my laptop bag if I had this available to me.
Oh, I used them as well, and I can't remember. Well, I haven't used them in a while, so I don't know. I'm debating one. I'm not going with Apple, but I'm definitely maybe a big thing about getting this one and see and I don't think I lose it. Well, no, scratch that. I do have lost things in the past, so okay. Meanwhile, other news, this is ridiculous. ADT has filed a lawsuit against Ring for using blue octagon signs to promote the Ring alarm outdoor siren. The U.S. home security company said over 6.5 million customers in the country are using its blue octagon lawn signs and window stickers to show that their houses are protected by its offerings. The company is arguing its trademark sign is, quote, iconic in the security market. Adding that Ring copied it, quote, seeking to tell a reputation for trust in potential customers that has not earned. In the complaint, it is filed against accusing the Amazon-owned company of willful trademark infringement and unfair competition. AT&T wrote that by using a similar-looking sign, quote, people will believe that Ring is providing a security on par with ADT, or worse, that Ring is providing its security service in partnership with ADT. The security company also noted the first time Ring used blue octagon signage in its lawsuit. Now, there's some other stuff here, but also AT&T is now asking a federal court in Florida to stop Ring from using blue octagon signs and for unspecified amount of cash and compensation. I'm going to show you guys, if you're watching on the live video right now, this article from Yahoo. Sorry. So if you're watching a live video, on the left-hand side, this is Ring. I'm going to see if I can blow up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so on the left-hand side, this is Ring. On the right-hand side, now Ring is light blue, very light blue. On the right-hand side, there's ADT, dark blue. I mean, come on. Is this really, does this suit have merit?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. If T-Mobile was able to sue, what was that? Not Cricket, the other one that merged. It was a separate prepaid company. If they were able to sue them successfully for using magenta in their logo and in their stores, just magenta, which T-Mobile doesn't have a trademark on magenta. Right. They were able to sue and successfully win a lawsuit because it was a cell phone store that was using magenta as its accent. Then yes, ADT has a firm case here, especially when you take into consideration that they had already agreed not to get close to infringement on ADT's trademarks and signage, specifically on signage. And then a couple of months later, they did. Yeah, that ADT has this on lock.
Okay,
so I'm not gonna lie. A blue octagon in that industry is a sign of a particular level of security. And from a distance, all you're going to see is a blue octagon. That is ADT. Just like today, if you saw the cell phone companies, right? They are so associated with their colors that they used to use people in polo shirts just wearing a color, and everybody knew what was happening.
Right, you're right.
They didn't have to show a single logo. And I think this is the same thing here. I think ADT and the blue octagon are so synonymous that Ring did this on purpose.
Okay, because I guess maybe I'm a little, and I remember seeing a commercial when Sprint was yellow, Verizon's red. Who else was on that? Oh, AT&T was blue,
and T-Mo is fugia.
Right. Magenta, right. And I remember, and people had the association with these so yeah, but I'm like looking at it, I'm like, because when I looked at these pictures, on the naked eye, I guess maybe, I know what difference between AT&T and Ring is, but I guess for some people would lean towards saying, that would make sense. Yeah, I just think it was kind of, I don't know. I don't know if that's why I was asking, just to throw it out there.
Sometimes you have to kind of go out on a limb and make a strange, what seems like a strange case, but in reality, because you're so synonymous with a thing. You have to protect that thing. AO Wireless, by the way, AIO was the company that merged with Cricket that was using magenta. It wasn't even the same magenta. It was a very different magenta. It was a very different pink. They were using as their accent color, and they got sued by T-Mobile, and T-Mobile won because everybody knows that magenta means T-Mobile. And in this case, anybody who's looking at home security knows that a blue octagon is ADT.
Fair enough. Okay, then you talk me down. So you talk me down.
It seems stupid on the surface.
Yeah, because when I was doing the rundown, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is the most oddest lawsuit that but then talk down a little bit.
If what was not AOL, but CompuServe. If CompuServe had suddenly added a blue triangle to its logo, a different blue, it could have been dark blue. Honestly, it could have been red. If they had added a triangle to their logo, AOL would have had every right to be pissed and probably every legal right to go after it, because that blue triangle was so synonymous AOL. Now, granted, CompuServe ended up being part of AOL later, but that's a whole different thing.
Well, not to mention the triangle, but also
or the yellow man. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. I'm surprised that Google didn't with the map view and didn't.
yeah. Well, by that point, AOL had given up on AIM. So
right. Yep. All right. Well, speaking of Vegas, we talked about at the top, and there's a lot of hotels along the Vegas Strip all over. There are Amazon devices that are equipped with Alexa. This can come in form of features like tablets, where guests can use a tablet to control various appliances like the lights, play music, and set an alarm, control the curtains, and more. Google is hoping to make hotels even smarter. In an announcement by Guest Supply and Volara, they have announced that they'll be teaming up with Google in the U.S. for Google for Hotels. There might be participating hotels and to feature hardware like the Google Nest Hub, which in turn will allow guests to control various aspects of the room using their service or using their voice. Excuse me. According to the announcement, quote, with the simple voice command, "Hey Google," if I'm triggering your devices, don't worry, guests can set up a wake-up alarm, and I think mine just went off. Guests can set up a wake-up alarm, speak with the front desk, get a recommendation, or request a item be brought to their room. Guests can also use the feature to ask for information about the weather, areas of attraction, where to eat, and more. And it's still going off.
Okay. So obviously there's going to be some problems here. You'd have to have the ability to make it go away. Like if it's just a regular Google Home sitting somewhere, that's fine. But like if this gets built into the lamps or something, because I don't know why, but hotels are obsessed with building things into the lamps. So if this were to get built into the lamp and you wouldn't be able to kill it, you're going to have people who won't stay at that hotel. Like Abram. It's so funny that the editor-in-chief of Tom's Hardware dislikes digital assistants so much that he won't have one around him if he can avoid it. But he's certainly not going to have it in the hotel, because if he's in a hotel, he's probably there for work and he sure can't talk about the things he's talking about. Then, you're going to start having privacy issues. Now we can't can we have a business meeting in the hotel room? No. All of a sudden what's happening at the Venetian during CES gets interesting, because there's all kinds of companies showing stuff off. Intel shows Abram stuff every year he's not allowed to talk about, sometimes for months, and they do that in hotel rooms. Can we do that? I don't know. Is there a spy in the room with us? Maybe. So there's definitely potential issues here. But for normal consumers, this is going to be super exciting.
Right. And for others,
I don't especially want a Google powered one. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, there would be conditions like during CES, it would be a problem, because obviously we're talking about stuff that may not be public yet. We're getting emails that are embargoed and stuff, and we'll talk about it in our room. And you can't do that if there's a spy, especially a spy from the industry sitting in the room with you.
Right.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I don't.
There's all kinds of issues here. But super cool idea. Definitely needs to be able to be muted on demand.
Right. And with me, when I go to a hotel, even when I went to Vegas, when I was at the Plaza, I couldn't. And I think with my family and I, I'd rather much have it on my phone, that I know that I can trigger it, call it when I need it, and to have it that in that room. And also there's some device also I know some hotels, I think I saw recently where they have with the camp. No. No.
I need you to finish that sentence. What do I need to be watching for now?
The camera. No, with the camera on, I can't. No, because there's some devices with that enabled. No.
Well, let's one up this, right? Let's talk about the Nest product, the Google Nest thermostat that had a microphone in it that was not disclosed even to the FCC.
Yep.
Oops.
Yep.
So, there's definitely concerns. It would be far from the first time that a piece of hardware with smart capabilities lied about those capabilities.
Right.
So there's concerns. There's privacy concerns here.
And that's where
being able to go to the FCC and get, specs on it apparently isn't enough, especially when dealing with Google, because they've lied to the FCC before.
Yep.
So
yeah. So this is going to be something interesting, but for me, hard pass.
Yeah, I'll use the one on my phone. It's no big deal.
Right
now, if Google and hotels want to work on a special version of a hub, and where you can sign into a transient hub with your Google Voice account or your Google Assistant account, then fine. That makes sense. So I can get there. I can open up Google Assistant, say, this is my room. This is my passcode. It connects to the hub. And now I can verbalize through my phone to the hub to turn lights on and off and set alarms and things. Okay. I'm on board for that. But I can't have something in the room listening to me that I'm not in charge of.
Exactly. And again, that goes back to also with the camera and
yeah. I need to know more about what we're talking about, because now I'm super worried.
Yep. All right. Next up, Sony has sold 7.8 million PlayStation 5 consoles as of March 31st. This is the company is saying in its latest earnings report. The number of PlayStation Plus subscribers now 47.6 million, a 14.7% increase, year on year. The fourth quarter figures brings the overall PlayStation business to a total operating profit of 342 billion yen, or 3.3. Oh, geez.
$3.14 billion US dollars.
US dollars. Thank you. Wow. This is a long
2020 fiscal.
Yep. Which is a record. Sony's
it's the fastest selling console of all time. And obviously it's hard to do a comparison in this generation, because we've been dealing with a chip shortage literally the entire generation. And that has caused hardware shortages, and hardware shortages slow down sales. And anyway, it's really hard to compare the two consoles because we're dealing with nonsense. But yes, PS5 fastest selling console of all time. Good on them. But of course it was going to be that, right? Because every generation has better sales, because it does more people are getting into the market, more people exist in the world, and the general wealth level of the planet is going up, which means more people can afford the hardware. So of course it's going to be better. If one of these two consoles wasn't the fastest selling console of all time, something had gone wrong.
Yep. All right.
But they're also not taking a loss on each console sale like they did last generation at launch. So that has helped them bring their operating profit up. Because the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3, when they launched, cost more than they sold them for. And that is not the case this time. So that's going to help.
Yep. Well, we're going to see. I guess we're going to see what's going to happen. We're going to see what's going to happen next quarter, and it made the tide from what it made the chip shortage. The tide may shift the other way.
They're saying it's 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Well, so
the companies that manufacture the chips are saying they probably won't be able to catch up for at least 2 years.
Well, that's why
that's not great.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It may shift the.
It may make things worse over time.
Exactly. Right.
But we've also got new companies that are looking to get into the space that want to help alleviate the problem, because obviously the demand for chips isn't going to get less over time. So there's space for more manufacturers. And so there are some manufacturers who are thinking about getting into the space that might speed that 2 to 3 years time frame up, which would be good for all of us.
Yes.
Because GM is putting all of their chips into large commercial trucks and have basically stopped making everything else, which is not great.
Yeah, Todd reported on that, I think, on last night's show or Mondays, I believe. It was news about that. All right, next in, Spotify is now boasting 158 million premium subscribers and 356 million monthly active users. That's according to its latest earnings report. That's a 21%.
Almost 50-50. That's actually pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. That's a 21% and 24% year-over-year increase, respectively. It's up from 155 million premium subscribers and 345 million active users last quarter. Spotify said that the ad-support revenue outperformed its forecast thanks in part to its podcasting efforts. Mm-hmm. In particular, the company said the Joe Rogan Experience, which is now exclusively licenses, quote, performed above expectations. Spotify said it's seen a, quote, strong increase in the amount of hours of podcast listening on a platform, though the actual proportion of users listening to podcasts was, quote, consistent with the previous quarter. So if you're listening on Spotify, thank you for tuning in and subscribing.
Now, if we could get them to stop screwing around with experimental features like trying to compete with Apple on paid exclusive content, and instead focus on getting video podcasts and be the second major platform to support video podcasts on both iOS and Android, mm-hmm. they'd make me a very happy camper. Mm-hmm. So, hey, Spotify, get on that instead of screwing around with experimental nonsense.
And also products like their Car Thing, and they actually named the product called Car Thing, which that's the most. You're thinking of different names for a product. I mean, if you're going to throw something against the wall and see if it sticks, Car Thing, I don't think it's going to do very well.
Elon Musk is digging holes in the ground with a company called The Boring Company. So you know what?
Fair enough.
And I get it. I get the joke that what they're doing is not particularly interesting and they're boring into the ground. I get the joke. I don't care. It's a terrible name.
All right. Other news. AT&T's Warner Media plans to charge $9.99 per month for its advertising-supported HBO Max service.
I really thought that they had seen what Universal had done so successfully and figured out the business model. But nope.
Yep. So it's set to launch in June. This is according to people familiar with the matter. The ad-free version of HBO Max, which debuted nearly a year ago, costs $14.99 per month. That's the same price HBO charged pay TV subscribers who add the premium channel to their bundle. AT&T chief executive,
which by the way comes with HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
So add it to your. Don't just get HBO Max. Add it to your cable if you have cable, because it's the same price and you get more for the money. Just throwing that out there, guys.
I have Verizon Fios and I have HBO, and it came included for free. So,
yep,
there's no way I'm going to spend another $15. AT&T chief executive, and we teased about this guy.
My John favorite Sankey. Name in the industry.
Ditto. John Sankey told CNBC last week that HBO and HBO Max's average revenue per user of $11.72 in the U.S. has been, quote, really impressive. He also noted that the ad supported.
Is he 16? Sorry. Have better commentary than calling it really impressive.
Right. He also noted the ad support HBO Max will expand the product's potential audience to more cost conscious consumers. He also says, quote, whether a customer chooses to buy the ad supported product or buy the straight subscription product, it's accretive in the same ways to our business. He also says giving consumers the choice of which version of HBO Max we prefer is a quote, is a strength, and quote, by no means an admission of something didn't work out the right way. It's always been the plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure it has, champ. Sure it has. Just like DirecTV. Always been the plan.
Oh my goodness.
AT&T's going to be really annoyed with all those DirecTV dishes out there in the wild with their globe on them.
Mm-hmm. Yikes.
Yeah,
all right.
They honestly, and I said when Hulu and Hulu Plus just became Hulu and the standard Hulu went away, which was many years ago now. I said that they had missed a big opportunity, that it was a mistake. And Universal has proven me right. There is a subset of customers who will absolutely, and it's not just Universal that's proven me right. It's YouTube that's proven me right for 15 years. Some people will only watch if the service is free. The internet has become a free place. A lot of things are ad supported, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. Peacock figured it out. Some of the older stuff is available. Just whatever. Yeah. Put your email address in and let's move on with our day. And then, and then some stuff is available ad supported at $9.99, but only behind the paywall. For example, the first, I think, 2 seasons of The Office are available for free, but all the rest of them are behind the paywall, which is fine. And in fairness, theirs is $4.99 and $9.99, not $9.99 and $14.99. But they're not doing a whole lot of high budget stuff like what HBO is doing. So the prices make sense, but there should definitely be a free version that only has like the older stuff or whatever that's totally ad supported, just like what Peacock is doing. I think it's the right model. I don't know. I might be crazy. But I think it's the right model. I think it's the thing that makes Peacock work, and the reason why they saw such huge numbers up front versus CBS / Paramount Plus, HBO Max. There's so many problems with Paramount Plus. They had the opportunity during this rebrand to fix the UI, and they said, you know what? We suck and we get it. That's our brand, garbage UI.
Right.
But you know, everybody has struggled. Look at Quibi. Everybody.
Oh yeah.
T-Mobile was giving Quibi away for free, and people still weren't interested. But that's a different issue.
But also too, with if HBO Max had just, like Peacock, people be inclined to purchase the pay behind the paywall versus
because let's say like with HBO, if we take HBO's lineup and do a Peacock with it, right? So the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones are available ad supported for free, but the rest of them are not. So you get through the first 3, time to subscribe. That would drive subscriptions. It has worked for Peacock. It used to work for Hulu. Only the last 5 were available on the outside. If you wanted more than the last 5 episodes of a show, you had to be a paid subscriber. It worked for Hulu for years, and they abandoned it.
Yeah, that's what I did when I first did the ad-free version. That's what I did. I was so intrigued with the episodes, I can't remember what it was, but to be honest, but this was so long ago. But I was like, sign me up. I'm like, I'm in. You got my money.
I was a subscriber to Hulu before it launched. They gave us a preview account. So I've been with Hulu since you could make clips and share them on Facebook, which Yes, that was a feature, guys. That was its big selling feature originally. But yeah, I've been around forever, and I went from the free to the paid to the ad free the day they gave me the option for ad free. I signed up for it. So there definitely is a place for that progression. And I think by not having that, they're setting themselves up to lose more of the cost conscious consumers than they are setting themselves up to get them.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen, because but best advice, if you have a cable system, Verizon, Fios, Spectrum, whoever, just it's only $10, I think, maybe $10. Go add that for a little while.
Oh yeah, because
I recommend that totally.
Yeah, because you can get all kind. Like if you call your cable company, you've never been a subscriber, call your cable company. They've got deals on HBO all the time, and it'll come with HBO Max.
Yep.
Ad free.
I definitely recommend that, because, and also to do the and then have it for like a few months. You can always cancel and
burn through the things, right? Watch your things, move on. It's how I deal with CBS All Access / Paramount Plus. I wait for the season of the thing I want to watch to finish. I sign up for my free trial. I burn through the thing, and then I move on.
Yep.
I didn't say that, Paramount Plus. You didn't hear me say that, because this isn't the show that they've got a sponsorship deal on.
Right.
I absolutely do not use privacy to create a new card every time, and Outlook to create a new email address every time, so I can get a free trial every time. I have never done that once.
So it's a helpful PSA from Scott. And finally, now I watched on Netflix, which I highly recommend, is a documentary called The Last Blockbuster. Now, it was a great. Did you see it?
Yeah,
you did. Excellent movie. Now we all know we're probably showing our age when you go to the. Back in the day, when you go into the Blockbuster or any place,
I still have my Blockbuster card.
I still have a Captain Video card.
I don't know what that means.
No, it's a video store. It's a video store.
I assumed. If it wasn't, it was weirdly named.
So I'll say about that a little bit later after we get off air. Now we always run a movie, and we always worry about the late fees, and if God forbid if you lose the video, you're going to pay for it up front. With that in mind, this is something that's both mind-blowing and shocking. So here's what happened. A Texas woman by the name of Karen McBride, who had a warrant out for her arrest in Oklahoma for felony embezzlement. This is because a movie that she thought she rented a copy of. This is a true story. This is no joke. A copy of Sabrina the Teenage Witch in 1999, and never bothered to bring it back. Now, the store called. You think Captain Video is weird? The store that was called the Movie Place closed in 2008. She told Fox News affiliate KOKH, and Gizmodo also picked up the story, that she had no idea this tape ever even existed and never would have picked it up. Excuse me. She said, quote, "Just not my cup of tea, but thinks maybe a man she used to live with at the time could have rented it for his two kids."
They shared a rental card.
Okay. All right. Well,
I did not know this was in the rundown, but I am very aware of this story. I have been following it for days because it is fascinating.
I have too. She only found out about the out-of-state warrant when she tried to change the name on her driver's license after getting married in Texas. She told KOKH, quote, "She told me it was over the VHS tape, and I had to make her repeat it because I thought, this is insane. This girl's kidding me, right?" She wasn't kidding. She also told the affiliate she'd been let go from several jobs over the past few years, and suspects this was a reason. When they ran my criminal background check, all they were seeing was these two words: felony embezzlement.
Yeah, they didn't see non-returned VHS tape.
Right now,
which obviously was on the background check because the girl at the DMV was able to see it. So it was definitely there. But you see felony embezzlement, you see that word embezzlement, you're like, "Ooh, you're not working here, champ."
Right.
I don't care the reason, because I'm gonna see VHS rental and think that can't be right. I'm gonna go with embezzlement. Get out.
Right. So the warrant's now been dropped and her record will be expunged. Can
you imagine? The company's been out of business for 13 years.
Right, 2008.
Who issued the warrant?
Yeah, that's another question. Now, the New York Times reached out. Now, this is why going back to the last blockbuster in the world, mind you, is in Bend, Oregon. They reached out to the store manager named Sandy Arding about a comment about what happened, and she said the manager says, quote, "We definitely not sent out a warrant for anyone like that. For anybody for that, that's a little bit crazy to me." Now, the story reached out to the cast of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and the star, Melissa Joan Hart, shared it on Instagram. And if you're watching the live video, guys, I'm going to show you the
get back over that window.
I'm going to show the post that she did, and she shared it, the article. This is from another news site, ABC7, probably in LA, I think. And these are all the comments.
She's no dummy when it comes to her viewing preferences.
Right. Don't look in my garage. I kid. Seriously, let's all sign a script for her to help her out.
Oh, I was gonna say that's Caroline.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
That's her aunt from the show.
Right.
That's funny. That would be awesome. I hope they do that. I hope if somebody has a script available, I hope they sign it and send it to her. Because I mean, the fact that she's likely lost jobs over the years over this nonsense. Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the odd story, I think, in the final segment block, this was the odd story. So,
it's odd.
Yeah,
it's bonkers. So weird. And the best part of the whole thing is, she said, "Not a chance. Not a chance I ever rented that."
Yep. And again, the last blockbuster is on Netflix. Again, highly recommend it. It was a great documentary. It had various actors from B movies on, and showed the story on how Blockbuster came about and how it fell. So,
and how they managed to screw up the relationship with Radio Shack. Oh no, wait, they didn't really get into that.
Yep. And that is the tech news for this week, so I can get my tongue untied for Friday, April 30th, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. Show notes from this episode can be found at gncweekly.com. Also, be sure to check out the latest tech news and commentary from geeknewscentral.com, and be sure to tune in Mondays and Thursday evenings at geeknewscentral.com/live for the Geek News Central podcast. And then be sure to watch and tune in Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at gncweekly.com/live. So please be sure to like and subscribe to the GNCWIR channel on YouTube. Also, make sure to click the bell and select always for notifications so you will not miss the next episode. Also, be sure to share this episode to people that you know to check out this podcast as well. So please keep those subscribers coming. We definitely do appreciate it. A lot of great stuff coming, and episode 100's further down the road. So we're looking forward to that. Also, be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast app. And be sure to tune in to F5 Refreshing Technology with Scott and Abram Pelch Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at f5live.tv/join us. Or be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. Comments on this week's episode, we'd love to hear from them. Head on over to gncweekly.com/connect and connect either via email, Twitter, or Facebook. Let us know if you've rented any movies and also any weird video store names, because you think Captain Video was weird. I'd like to hear yours.
I definitely think it was weird.
I'm on Twitter. I'm at Kirk Corliss. Scott is on Twitter at TTMABO. Till the next episode of GNC Week in Review. So long.
Ciao.